And the first one, game one, yeah, Lion and Ourk. Okay, no observer back then, so it was, well, who would be observing back then? In 2004, there was no streaming, so of course, who would be observing a tournament game that just wasn't done? You just waited for the recorded games back then. You didn't want to risk any kind of laming or other laming. Lagging. Because of course, in 2004, the networks weren't as stable as they are now. So for 4, well, yeah, let's keep it for the start. Then, of course, let's get rid of all of this. And the first game then, and the first match is going to be between Vagabond Lion and Squiz Ourk. Well, this is a match, as I said a bit earlier, from Christmas of 2004. So it's already like 12.5 years old. That's really old. And even looking at the civilizations in here, you just have to see that this is not going to be anything from the near time, or rather near past, because we are looking at Zeus versus Kronos. I'm not exactly sure if the tournament was random or not. I would be thinking not. If I remember correctly, it wasn't really that usual to be playing random gods or anything back then. So this is definitely, or rather definitely, I would be thinking this is actually on purpose choosing Kronos and the Zeus in there. So yep, definitely curious. Of course, there was no blind pick back then. And, well, we're gonna see how this is going to be playing out. This is from a tournament called Titan's Revenge. There was a tournament basically every Christmas, as even lately there was in RTS-Sanctuary tournament basically every Christmas, so it was a tradition already working back then. And I'm definitely curious how they are going to be playing on Savannah, because if you play this on basically in the past, I don't know, maybe 7+ years, you would be basically thinking that this is an impossible matchup for Kronos. But Ourk, well, one of the topest experts back then and overall in the game, against another topest expert Lion, we could be probably expecting something highly unusual. So let's get on with it and see how this is going to be playing out. Alright, so Vagabond Lion is going to be starting on the right side of the map, just to make sure that everybody is aware this is really not any kind of balance patch, this is just original, one of the Age of Mythology. And I have found those games looking through my archives, because of course I'm kind of control freak as far as some backups go and such, so I have found quite a lot of games that I've actually downloaded back then. And even though I don't know why, I usually didn't download bad games, so it had to have been something pretty good. And they are also from RTS-Sanctuary, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they should be, because RTS-Sanctuary was then AoT Sanctuary, was already working, as he's discovering the first of the guys in here, of the oracles. And well, yeah, you should be able to find them on the web even today, even though it might be taking a bit of time, because those experts, they really uploaded a lot of games, but I'm of course going to be linking all those in the description for the YouTube. So far we are looking at pretty standard map, pretty nice gold right now for a Lion. We should be expecting really aggressive gameplay from the Kronos. Let's switch into his point of view, into Ourk. So far, one on the right, one on the left, with the one in the front unfortunately already dead, or rather coming home. So he's probably, is he gonna be crushing? I would be thinking so. I'm not exactly sure what other kind of idea he could be having. Pretty nice hunt for him right now. The double rhinos in there, so definitely nice to see. And he should be, of course, having all the upgrades that would be standard. Hunting dogs, nothing really changed in that from the times back then. So let's switch off the fog of war. It's not going to be really useful, and it's going to be easier for us to check up around the map. Better hero damage to myth units. That's actually a nice one. That could actually help him in any kind of attack, and especially he needs to prevent it from coming into the enemy hands. And better wall and gate costs. Yeah, well, the meta wasn't really all that wally back then. So I'm not exactly sure if that will be used all that much. So that's 6 on hunt, of course. Right now we are moving on through gold, and he's on 3 on wood. So he's basically going for absolutely standard build-up. That's exactly how I played as well, Zeus. That's how everybody plays Zeus pretty much. A bit of a movement in there for a bit more efficiency. And, well, he is already maybe thinking that the temple might be coming up. We are at 2.5. So, in normal gameplay today, you would be definitely thinking about the temple already. But not back then. Back then, you advance at basically 5:15. Maybe slightly faster, like 5, against a Kronos, because you would be expecting the crash. But you would definitely go for a Jason before advance, especially on a map that does seem to be having pretty decent hunt for both of these players. Even though, you mustn't forget that Lion is on the chickens. He didn't really get the luck on the hunt. One gazelle. And yep, it seems like that the spawn was actually slightly luckier for his opponent, but slightly luckier only because, yeah, Lion just missed the hunt. He just missed the big hunt in there. It was in the darkness. Luckily for Ourk, he didn't, but yeah, Vagabond Lion did. And that of course means that there could be actually a pretty significant advantage for Ourk. I'm fairly certain that he's already coming in to actually reconstruct the temple. Let's switch into Ourk because he should be advancing faster. He already does have the temple or not? So far not. He's just scouting all around the map. Same as his opponent. Lion is also going around there. And well, unfortunately, Ourk wasn't really paying enough attention in there. And he got caught, quite unfortunately, as he was switching hands here. Lion in the crossfire. And that means that this guy will have to be replaced by somebody else. Like, for example, this guy on the right. Because, yep, he will most definitely want to deconstruct the dock. Or rather dock, not dock. The temple as fast as possible once he advances. Okay, so moving on to a big hunt. That's all 12 villagers. That's so dangerous. Somebody's living dangerously in here, and that's all because he doesn't see this hunt. Oh man, that's just so sad for him, and it's of course going to be advantage for Ourk right now, who is still not advancing, so he's not really crashing or anything like that. Going for a fairly standard build up in here, even though it's going to be quite late. It's going to be 5:15 advance, but of course you would be expecting from Lion basically the same, but he's going to be quite delayed for all this hunt. Yep, that was a long walk time from all the chickens in here at the top to the bottom. That was like maybe half a minute, even more, without getting any food. So basically his advance into the next age is going to be quite tragic. I can see it's going to be about 6 minutes. Definitely not ideal. But yeah, that's how the map spawned back then. And you could have definitely be fallen into a trap like this. So let's see if Lion will be able to recuperate from that. Coming for Hermes. Yeah, not even coming for Athena. Because of course he's fully expecting he's going to be in deep trouble pretty soon. And I'm curious how Ourk is going to be actually able to somehow punish him for this. So far, I don't exactly see him attempting to punish him. Not really any kind of transport of buildings next to his opponent or anything. One villager here on the temple. So you might be seeing some centaurs already in there. But yeah, of course, this is quite nice spot for Lion to be defending if he wants to. Because of course, these double lions, or rather double elephants, god damn it, stupid animals in here, missing their correct names and the berries. This is really a pretty good spot for him, considering that he doesn't know where next he should be gathering food, and he's already having just two guys right next to the town center called goats with husbandry on top of them. So yep, not really all that great for him, and not having even any kind of extra upgrades. Pickaxe just now for Ourk. Is he having hand axe as well? Yes, he does. Yes, he does, as the Promethean is already trying to get rid of the scout, because he's probably expecting that his opponent might be attempting to rush him, but he didn't definitely expect this very late advance at like 5:50. That was really very late. Okay, so auto queues from Ourk are on Murmilos and double Turmas. So double counter barracks with one military barracks. Of course, with the latest advance, he could have afforded all those extra buildings. Usually you just have lately just one of each, or two counter barracks, so basically just two military buildings, but it's not going to be really true in here with the battery economy, and of course the centaur is already going for a bit of raiding on the opponent. Switching shortly into Lion, how's it looking? He's definitely sticking to this part of the map. Right now Ourk has gotten the better damage to the myth units from heroes, as Jason is already up and going to be trying to get rid of the enemies. Going to be relic picked up. That was for the walls and gates. Well, yeah, better than nothing, I guess, for him, but Hippicons are going to be the unit of choice right now for Lion, so that should be quite alright. That should be quite alright, especially if he's gonna produce some extra centaurs, which doesn't seem to be really the case, even though he does have the resources. He's having 25 favors, so that's for about two centaurs. He does have the wood as well, so kind of curious that he wouldn't want to go for that, but it seems to be that he is stabilizing quite alright, and Ourk wasn't really able so far to take advantage of that mistake by Lion in the start. Well, yep, unfortunately, bit of idle time in here. He will have to move somewhere, I don't know where, maybe into chickens. He doesn't have all that much left on the left, or he actually does, but does he see it? No, he doesn't. He doesn't see the elephants at the top, as there is, unfortunately, another oracle for him dying, so that's even less scouting in here. And quite surprisingly, he didn't really go with the oracle to steal the mythical unit from his opponent, which is kind of unusual. You would be expecting that as a Kronos, you would be wanting to go for that. But yeah, there is going to be a bit of an attempt to go to the bottom, potentially, right now, for the hunt, as he sees that the guys are there. And that should be really meaning that Lion should be retreating from this position. Even though he does have pretty decent reinforcements, I don't exactly expect that really he should be allowed to get it from here all that much longer. Reinforcements with the Prometheans coming up. And just idle army in here at the top, waiting for potentially to go into the army from some other side. But yep, apparently it's not happening yet, just now moving on. As he is just now noticing he's having idlers and definitely needs all the help that he can get, as those Epicons are a bit more of a problem that he could be expecting, especially supported by the two heroes in the army. Alright, so we are looking at anything significant. Another counter barracks, 2 triple counter barracks with 1 military barracks, also some catapulties coming up, of course, against all of those horses. And this is basically, you could be thinking that they are like playing like really lame or some such. But I'm thinking it might actually be partly because of respect for each other. And they are not really wanting to make any kind of mistake at all. You mustn't forget this is a tournament game. And for time back then, I'm fairly certain it was actually high money. I'm not exactly sure right now off the bat how much. I will have to look that up, but medium Epicons coming up. But yeah, they wanted to take this carefully and quite seriously. And, well, right now the hunters are most definitely moving back, and where they are moving, not sure if into that one gazelle, I don't think so. But of course, Orc's army is getting bigger, but I wouldn't really be worried if I were the Lion, because those medium Epicons, they are super strong, and of course, with the support of the towers, he should be pretty much fine. If he does have enough wood for the farms, that is. Not really. Not really, so he might be actually having pretty significant problems very soon. As soon as he runs out of the goats, he will definitely need to think about some other source of food, which should be farms. And for that, he is not really having sufficient wood economy. He should be more than those guys on the gold, he should be probably sending them onto wood. Onto the backline, that seems to be basically the safest for him. And the gold is definitely running out as well, as there is a bit of an engagement. And looking at the minimap, his next gold is either the one in here at the bottom, which is basically not safe, or the one at the top, which is also not safe, because there's very nice scouting by the little Promethean. So yep, needs to be careful about it, as of course Ourk is right now coming up right on this gold and trying to basically put Lion out of any kind of good position that could be defensible for him. Well, not any kind of second TCs yet. Ourk is just now basically trying to do divide and conquer, doing a pretty good job of that. And well, a bit of a luck right now for Lion, because he is of course discovering the super important rhinos. That's a whole lot of food for him. That will be needed exactly right about now. So he's already going to be moving exactly into that position. And we are going to be looking, for example, at Ourk and his upgrades, because Lion is definitely aiming for heroic. You can look at the resources, 500 of each. So he seems to be aiming for that, but he will definitely need to be wary, because those Turmas are coming back. And yep, the wood line, exactly as expected, definitely will be needed for the farms, is going to be under fire. And maybe more importantly, the gold is going to be under fire as well. Blacksmith coming up, of course, confirming that the heroic age is exactly the aim for Vagabond Lion. As the opponent, is he doing something like that as well? You're going to be seen pretty soon as this battle is resolved. Yep, that's not really going to be all that much of a battle. And yet again, trading right now by Gold Lion, rather not Gold Lion, Vagabond Lion in here. These are not the same players at all, as the gold is just now finished, and that might be a bit of an opportunity for Lion. Because of course, you can see that Ourk is so far not noticing just now but he's having enough manors to hide himself in if he wants to. Apparently, Red is just now coming into the wood line from the front. Yeah, he's definitely playing very well. Right now, the town center, unfortunately, is noticed. So, Blue is basically converging with everything in there. But it also means that he is unprepared for any kind of defense inside his base. And he's paying for it, as the tower is going to be coming down, potentially opening. And, well, giving some extra opportunity to raid into the economy of Vagabond Lion. So, well, definitely not that easy so far for Ourk, even though he seems to be slightly aiming and inching into the next stage as well, even though he doesn't have armored yet. But of course, the mythical units, the Prometheans, are really doing their job, because they are exactly the tanks that he needs, as the heroes from Lion are in short supply, just 2 of them, and we don't really see them anywhere all that much. They are definitely not in the battlefield in here. I have seen Odysseus a bit earlier, yes, still very much alive, but Jason not yet, and that seems like that actually Lion. Oh, yeah, he's housed, but he was definitely aiming for the heroic, but he definitely had to stop as well, because he needed to fight against the opponent and stop him from the front TC. But yeah, that's probably not going to be stopped for much longer, because Ourk is stabilizing the situation quite alright, and coming for quite unsafe gold. That's quite gutsy for him. Is it gutsy or stupid? Yeah, it's, well, not sure. I was just looking if he actually knows about the gold at the back, those 2 golds. He does. So he's just basically thinking that the middle of the map is reasonably safe for him, and he will want to somehow establish himself there and deny the gold to his opponent, because you can see that Lion, he desperately needs this gold. He desperately needs it, and it seems like that he's actually putting all the effort to protecting it, with the military building switching into arch ranges, and of course the towers are going to be a huge help, and he will be left with not much food. That's just 15. Second elephant is already gone, so yep, he's of course going to be just hoping that this is going to be for him enough. Odysseus getting rid of the Prometheans, as he's desperately trying to get rid of the remaining tower. Yeah, well, not really working out all that much, as the Hippicons are in pretty scary numbers right about now, going for the back TC with 1 villager. That's usually not really going on lately as well, but he cannot really spare all that much. His economy suffered a bit of a blow through the very nice raiding of Ourk, and also he just lost the numbers in there, so he cannot afford all that many villagers, so that he can still produce enough military units. Both are at the population limit, I would be thinking. Yes, they are. Yes, they are, as the farms are coming up. Yeah, not really caring about, especially the last one, about optimization. He just wants to place them as fast as possible, so that he can micro his battle in here. And well, of course, that's quite understandable for him. Kinda curious if he has some military upgrades, so far not. Economy, just basically the baseline. For the opponents, he's having Polo as well. Okay, so all the upgrades are pretty much in place. And what's that? Yeah, that's just the flag. That is for the better heroes against myth units. Alright, so castle, aka town center, is going to be finished, because there's a bit of raiding yet again. Ourk quite nicely getting into the woodline for about the 3rd or 4th time. So Lion definitely not paying enough attention in there. And quite curiously, he's not even moving for the hunt. And I'm not exactly sure if I understand that, because that's a lot of food. He could have spared himself a bit of farming in there, especially since he doesn't have the plow yet. Yeah. Just now researching it. And hunt is just fast. So why not? Especially now with the protection in here, I would definitely go for it. It's well worth it. But well, not him so far. And let's see if he's going to be changing his mind. In the meantime, of course, a bit of Hippicons trying to push him off. Whereas there seems to be some kind of army brewing, yet again, with catapulties. They are already mediums. This is definitely curious, because there are just a few more mills in there. But the majority of the army is catapulties. That's a unit you don't really see all that often lately. But Lion is quite well prepared, with already switching into the Toxots. And the army of Toxots and Hippicons, that's exactly what you want to do against an Atlantean. So yeah, these guys are a bit scouting around, as Ourk had to switch to the bottom. Right now building counter barracks so that he is a bit closer to the battlefield, and also so that he can somehow protect himself in here through the catapulties, as he's fully expecting raiding by the Hippicons. That's very nice thinking ahead, and oh well, he's right now trying to surprise his opponent quite alright. That's going to be stolen TC, because I'm fairly certain that Lion is not going to be knowing about this at all, and especially with a few reinforcements in there coming up, it should be reasonably safe for him to gather it and steal it from his opponent. In the meantime, resources getting up. That will result in Lion, or rather, yeah, Lion advancing to the next age, and Red getting yet another TC, so he's going to be at all 4, which is, he really cannot support the population limit. I'm fairly certain about it, as this poor guy is ganged up upon, but it's much more important because of protection from Radiant. This is next to goal, so he has somewhere to run. And also, he's basically going to be making sure that his opponent is going to be staying at 2, as of course he's still not really ready to take his opponent on either. This is just sad. 1400 1000 and just missing 30 gold. Yeah, because he's having just these few guys just now coming up, and that's actually going to be helping him with other upgrades in the next age. And at this stage, I would definitely like him. I would most definitely like him to get up some guys for the favor and get some mythical units, because they would help him immensely against units that his opponent is having, as Ourk doesn't seem to be ready all that much. Even for Heroic Age, quite curiously, as he's investing in the town centers, thinking it's going to be much more worthwhile. But maybe not. You're gonna see pretty soon, I guess. But he definitely doesn't have the economy to produce all that many heroes. And with the army that Lion is having, a few extra mythical units, like whatever it's going to be. I'm not sure. I'll be hoping that Dionysus. Yes, Dionysus is going to be the god of choice. A few Hydras in there. That's just going to be absolutely deadly to any kind of army that Ourk can be having, even with the extra numbers. So, yep. Also, because he is having the pop deficiency, you should be looking at something that is efficient at basically the pop cost, and that's exactly mythical units. So yep, well, that would be something that you should be doing. In the meantime though, normal dog swords as bronze exactly coming in time. Unfortunately for him, he already had like kinda half that units, half of those, so that was kinda unfortunate, but this is going to be basically make it or break it battle. And unfortunately it seems like more or less break it for Lion. You can see all the bronze guys dead in there, and even forcing the ceasefire. And of course, right now he's fully realizing that he is facing 4 town centers, which is of course going to be a whole lot better economy than he is having. Already at least Shaft Mine. His opponent, how well is he off? Shaft Mine and Bowsaw, so much better. And well, let's switch into Ourk. How close is he actually to the next age? Well, he's full popped at 4 town centers, that's also something. Working for him quite well, and he's establishing himself at the top, just basically making sure that he's not surprised by some kind of raiding party in there and can basically respond to anything his opponent is doing. This is something that you don't see all that often today, and it's just a big mistake, because you need to be prepared at all costs and at all parts of the map, and once you are exactly like this, you are having military buildings at the bottom, at the top, in the middle, literally absolutely everywhere. You're just going to be ready for anything. And you're going to be just that much more impenetrable to any kind of problems. So yep, ceasefire is going to be coming out. Bronze is still active. Just right now a bit of positioning for better micro. That's exactly what he needed to do. And the Hydra, well, yeah, she cannot get some hits in there. Hercules also in the fight, and this is going to be working out. Well, so far it's looking for red, just because of the sheer numbers, and the construction coming up exactly at the correct time, waiting to get rid of the pesky tower. And of course all the army is pretty much dead for blue, even though he's having some reinforcements in there. It's not really working into his advantage all that much, and the 4 town centers are just a bit too much for Lion right now to handle. So this seems like a pretty much a convincing battle in here, and yep, right now exactly we are seeing the resign. And even though he was already coming through Rhea, that is a victory for a Kronos against a Zeus. Well, has to be said that the Zeus didn't have the greatest of starts. As he missed those rhinos, they are just going to be living for the remainder of the game, and that did force him into advance at about 550. And even though his opponent advanced at like 520 as well, yeah, the half minute, it was just a bit too much, because he wasn't able from that point forward to apply sufficient pressure. He was doing all he could. He was raiding very well, stopping a town center for a moment. But yeah, it was just snowballing from there. Very hard to do. Some kind of overcoming of that deficit, especially since the both players were one of the toppest experts in the game. Just going to be switching into Lion. How much has he scouted off the top? Well, he knew about the golds, which makes it kind of curious that he wanted to go for the gold at the bottom, to be honest. I would be maybe expecting he would at least try to go for 2 gold mines, if not right off for the one at the top. It seems to be, or rather seemed to be at that point, slightly more defensible. But yeah, he opted for this, and well, maybe even that cost him the game. So let's check the post game. So Ourk, well, he's going to be winning most of this, because of the extra town centers and everything simply being better. Not much of an efficiency in here, but well, he didn't need that. He just needed the correct numbers. So a lot of classical fighting we've had in this game. And still more military units in here, but until this moment he wasn't really having that many of them to make a significant difference, because the Hippicons, especially mediums, they were just quite alright to deal with any kind of problems that they were facing. Okay, so GG.